Hey everybody, welcome back to US History. This is our last section of notes for today, for this unit, before we wrap things up. So, go ahead and get your notes out. Let's get started. So, some background that we need to go over. In Cuba, we have to talk about this lovely dictator here by the name of Fulgencio Bautista. One click too many. Who was in power from 1952 to 1959. He was backed by the United States. And U.S. companies dominated the Cuban economy, with mafia ties being in Havana. And the Cuban people were denied all freedom. They lived in a police state, and Batista killed 20,000 people in 7 years. Now, JFK would say there was no country in the world where humiliation and exploitation were worse than in And this led for this gentleman, Fidel Castro, to lead a revolution and overthrow Batista, and in 1959, Castro's guerrilla forces defeated Batista. Now, I just discovered I can move my little bubble, so I'm not covering the slide. He seized 3 U.S. and British oil refineries near Cuba, broke up the American sugar farms, and U.S.-Cuban relations declined rapidly. In January of 1961, Eisenhower cut off diplomatic relations with Cuba, and they relied and welcomed Soviet aid, with Castro becoming a dictator and a tyrant in his own right. There we go. Now, 10% of the Cuban population went into exile, and these exiles wanted Castro out. The CIA also wanted to get rid of him. Allen Dulles, the director of the CIA, proposed multiple missions to assassinate him, but none were ultimately successful. Now, looks like we're going to move my little bubble yet again. So, the U.S. government had planned a way to overthrow Cuba, and they trained Cuban exiles to invade Cuba and overthrow Castro, with an amphibious landing at the Bay of Pigs, down here. Fair warning, it's going to go all horribly wrong. But all you watching this are going to get so confused whenever my little bubble is moving all over the place. The Bay of Pigs was essentially a perfect failure. The food and ammo ship sunk on the first day. There was no landing craft for the exiles, so they'd get on rowboats, meaning they were easily caught. Radio communication to the Cuban underground was never established. The coral reefs around Cuba didn't allow ships to get to the beach. JFK refused to provide air cover because he didn't want anyone to know the U.S. was behind the invasion. 114 people would be killed, almost 1,200 would be captured, 240 would go missing, and the exiles were then put on trial in Cuba as well. And everyone knew that we were behind it. Now one click too many. When it came to the impact, JFK's reputation was severely damaged. Khrushchev thought JFK was weak, and Castro feels threatened and turns to the Soviet Union for help. This begins the beginning of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Well, ain't that fun when it says it's loading. So I guess we'll just hit escape, go back to this screen. There we go. Give it a second to load. So the other half of the notes that we're doing today is on JFK's assassination, which we're actually going to give this a minute or two to finish buffering, because it would appear that we are not, since the text is white, you're not going to be able to see it on your screens. But just kind of some background. A lot of JFK's assassination is surrounded by a lot of theories and conspiracy theories. We're not really going to be talking a lot about those in class. You're welcome to discuss them on your own. Feel free to come and talk to me about them later, but we're really not going to have much time to go over them in this setting today. Okay. I'm going to try hitting refresh and see if that helps at all. Don't you just love technical difficulties? Who knows, maybe if you're still watching the video at this point, you'll get a nice little laugh out of it. Well, let's see, the pictures are there. Well, all the pictures have loaded. You know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll just make the other half of the notes, unless it's going to load pretty quickly, which it seems to be doing. Well, take this minute. Make sure your bell ringers are done for the units. This is the last section of notes. Make sure you have those done. That way those are finished and completed. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this a separate video. So I will see you all in the next video. Bye!